Holy crap, I did not expect this film to be good. When I put this in, I was just expecting a typical action science fiction flick. Like, obviously it has some big names here, Guy Pearce and Maggie Grace from the producers of Taken, but I wasn't expecting some awesome, amazing science fiction flick. Luc Besson, though, that's the name that really saved the picture for me here. And it kind of does feel like Die Hard. I don't know where the Blade Runner comes into play here. It does have Die Hard elements, definitely, but Blade Runner... What are you talking about? What do you mean? What are you doing? No, not Blade Runner, but there's some Die Hard meets some science fiction, and that's probably where they're getting Blade Runner from, is because it's taking place in a science fiction-y world, kind of a little bit dystopian-ish, but it's not necessarily too far from our current year. Maybe 50 to more like 100, probably 100 years from now. The guns are still pretty, the cars are still pretty modern. There's no hover cars or anything, but there's this new orbital space station that's this supermax prison. And so they decide to throw inmates up here to freeze them in cryosleep. And then they'll just thaw them out after they serve their time, so that they don't have to... Then you wonder, why can't you just do that on Earth, instead of just in space? It's not like people are going to be breaking out or anything like that, except they kind of do. Well, you gotta have a movie. So what happens here? We have the president's daughter, played by Maggie Grace, going up to this orbital prison space station to learn about the psychological ramifications of being cryonically frozen and then unfrozen to perform interviews with people like Maggie Grace. So she's got her little pad and paper writing down all of the stuff that goes on at this Supermax prison with all of the cryo stuff happening with them. And it's not good with them. They end up getting like dementia and all sorts of problems with their brains because of cryo damage and all with their heads and all of that stuff. And she's going like, this isn't exactly humane. And then the prison warden guards are all like, well, these people aren't exactly humane people. So, yeah. And then she's going like, well, what if they weren't as bad as they were convicted of being, It's kind of, the judicial system isn't exactly perfect, this is only just 20-something, it's only been 100 years, we should be a little bit better than this, but, this is how we do dystopian, we don't want to be hopeful, we have to take the worst of humanity and realize that the worst of humanity is always going to be the worst of humanity, even now to 100 years from now, to 300 years from now, it's the same stuff. Even back in 3000 BC with the pyramids, people were still being terrible people, and nowadays, in the 2130s, it's still the same old song and dance. I don't actually know if it's the 2130s or anything like that. It just kind of feels like it's not exactly too far from modern day, but I'm being cynical here in saying that given the advancement of technology now, I doubt we're going to have anything in space for at least another 100 years. They have the space station, but what the heck have we done since we put that thing up there? Have we added anything else? Satellites, don't get me started. Oh, we put some satellites on it. And what about more space station? Have you added any of those yet? No. That's exactly my point. I don't think you're going to have something this big up there for quite a while. Okay. Anyways, Luc Besson, he did Fifth Element and Valerian. Okay, those two films are two of my favorite science fiction films that I've ever seen. People give a lot of crap to Valerian, and I'm like, okay. You get the main character and his girlfriend lady. She's not technically his girlfriend, but they're basically girls. She's basically his girlfriend. And you go like, oh, they don't have exactly this big screen presence. They don't have good charisma. They are not great actors. And I'm like, okay, you're entitled to that. Even though I don't exactly agree with that, you're entitled to thinking they're not exactly good screen presence. But how about the rest of it? The big space station, that thing was amazing. The effects were fantastic. It's like quality of Avatar, you know? And I loved it. But then they go like, oh, this CG. Oh, look at that. It's all CG. It's not gonna be good if it's all CG. Any type of CG, I'm gonna poo-poo it. And I'm like, well, you're entitled to that opinion too, but I disagree with her. Valerian is a fantastic film. It's from the great mind of Luc Besson, and this is also from the great mind of Luc Besson. And it's fun. This could be a film set in the Fifth Element series, just set prior, like a couple centuries before the Fifth Element happens. We have this that happens. This is where humanity was before they eventually get to the Fifth Element era. So that I could buy that. I could. And this has kind of a little bit of like a Demolition Man era in here, and kind of a little bit of Escape from New York vibes as well. This guy is a rogue CIA agent, and he gets captured by his government, and he's going to be placed on this supermax prison to rot away for the rest of his life for a crime he didn't commit, of course. His friend, his big friend, spy friend, all this spy stuff that's going on, his spy friend gets shot, and then he gets framed for shooting his friend, and this big CIA guy, FBI man, cabinet leader man, secretary of defense maybe man, played by Peter Stormare, is all like, oh, you killed him. I saw you do it, and I'm going to tell the president that I saw you do it. And it's terrible act, terrible impression, absolutely terrible impression. But he's going to tell the president that he saw him do it. He's being framed for this, and Guy Pearce is like, insert cheesy one-liner here. He's just full of them. He's just full of them. I love this guy. He is a fantastic character. Why the heck aren't we putting Guy Pearce in more movies? Why the heck haven't we done that? Man, his performance in this movie just screams, put this guy in more! Put him in more movies. Tons more. Dozens more movies like Lockout. Put him in more action movies. Put him in more science fiction movies. Make this guy the new Snake Plissken. Well, it's a little bit late now. It's been another, 12 to 13 years since Lockout? He's a little bit older now. But if you had taken my demand advice seriously, 12 to 13 years ago, you could have had a series with this man, and he would be millions more richer now than he is now had you taken that advice. Anyways, he basically does play like a Demolition Man / Snake Plissken type of character. He smokes, and in this time period, nobody smokes. In fact, one of the characters goes like, "You're a relic of the past, man. Nobody smokes anymore." And it's basically just saying this really does feel like Escape from New York. It really does have an Escape from New York vibe to it. He's being thrown to this hellhole to rescue the president's daughter before the hellhole supermax prison where all the prisoners have escaped cryosleep. He's got to go in there. He's got to rescue the president's daughter, get out before the supermax prison goes kablooey bamboozled. And all the while, he has to exonerate himself, because there's a guy on that supermax prison that recently got transferred there who has intel on where the briefcase with very vital intel that Guy Pearce needs to clear his name is located. And the guy on the prison ship ends up having his brain scrambled from cryosleep, and Maggie Grace goes like, "This is exactly the thing that I came up here to study, to explain, to prove, to show to the world," and all that stuff. And Guy Pearce is like, "Well, that's just great. His brain is now scrambled eggs. I can't even eat it, not even sunny side up." And so he ends up telling Maggie Grace where the case is through his brain scrambled wordisms. He says the case is in a locker at the train station, and he even tells her the password to open up the locker so that she can find the briefcase. And she does do this. After they make it off the prison ship back down to Earth, Guy Pearce is immediately arrested again. And then Maggie Grace finds the locker, finds the briefcase, hands it over to the people who need to get the briefcase. And then Guy Pearce hands the briefcase to his handler, his boss, who during the film was all trying to help him and all that crap. So we thought that his boss was the good guy and Peter Stormare was the bad guy. Well, when his boss opens the briefcase, Guy Pearce goes like, "Well, I'm surprised you knew how to open that thing." And the briefcase is empty. And that was all the proof that he needed to know there. And Peter Stormare is all like, I was in on it the whole time. I was in on this with Guy Pearce the whole time. Good job, Guy Pearce. Good job. And so Guy Pearce goes out. He's free. He's exonerated. His name is cleared. And he finds Maggie Grace standing outside the prison. And instead of the romantic kiss at the end, she punches him in the face. Because that's how they met, and on the prison ship, Guy Pearce punches her in the face and says, hey, look, it's okay. You're supposed to look like a prisoner. Being punched in the face makes you fit in. So at the end of the movie, she punches him in the face just to pay him back. And Guy Pearce goes like, "Well, actually, I thought you were going to kiss me." That doesn't happen. But they're technically dating now. And that's very funny. It's very funny to me. It's very amusing to me. I'm very amused by the end of this movie. This movie was fantastic. Lockout is not like this. It's not even close to The Fifth Element, okay? But it is so fun. It's cheesy. It's fun. It's not as good as Demolition Man. It's not as good as Die Hard. It's not as good as Escape from New York. But it still has all of the best fun vibes of all three of those films. And it throws it into a big melting pot of alphabet soup and gives you the proper alphabet soup of a fun movie. Definitely give this a look.